All right, everyone. Well, for those of you who are going to watch this live tonight, good evening. Let me take a look over on the YouTube side and make sure everything looks okay. All right, everything over on YouTube looks okay. StreamYard is a platform all in itself, and it broadcasts over to YouTube or whichever platform you choose to use. It transmits over to, or should I say, it broadcasts over to Facebook as well. I was just talking with tonight's guest, and it broadcasts over to LinkedIn. So you always want to make sure your connection over on the platform of choice is good. I see a couple folks in here now, just coming in. Please hit that like. I am going to, with my StreamYard. With StreamYard, I've realized that there's a video function. So on all my channels now, I'm trying to up my game and evolve. And so I'm using some video component to my introductions. So it's about time for me to make a new trailer for this channel. But for now, for the introduction to this stream, I'm going to show my original trailer. I was watching it before I started, and it's time for a new one. This is my first trailer, but it encompasses my entire vision and my entire brand, and it's going to encompass a little bit of what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'll see you on the other side of this introduction. Welcome to Big Discussions 76. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. I am a scientist, a thinker, a writer, an aspiring speaker, and now a YouTube content creator. There are numerous topics that I cover here on Big Discussions 76. There are 3 other Big Discussions 76 channels, and the links to them will be in the description box below this trailer. My blogging platform is the Big Words blog site, which I often refer to in my video content. Please subscribe to Big Discussions 76. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. So guys, things grow and evolve. It's time for a new trailer. I looked kind of wooden in that one, but it was my first time doing it. So, the first time you do something, it doesn't always look great. Things evolve. Before I bring up my esteemed guest, Willie A Price Speaks, a few more housekeeping aspects in that trailer. And now I've been very upfront with everyone that I'm a writer and I'm working on a book project. This is the book project right here. It's called The Engineers, a Western New York Basketball Story. This is from my writer's blog. The link is below the stream. If you want to read it, the story, it's going to be about basketball in Western New York and what basketball taught me at an early age. And there are a lot of character building themes in there and a lot of just learning how to succeed. And I think my discussion with Willie A Price Speaks I think some of that's going to come out in what he does. The link to this is in the description box below. Two more things. I'm going to bring Willie up so I can ask him about what he's doing. Let's see. So if anyone wants to get in contact with me, I have a blogging platform. That second line there, that's my email address for all my YouTube content. If you have ideas, if you want to say something to me regarding this, that's there. I have a Facebook page, Big Words blog site Facebook page. That's my Twitter handle. That's my Instagram handle as well. And as you know, there are 3 other channels. I said that in the trailer. The super chat is live, guys. I will be dropping my Cash App and PayPal in the chat as well. If you want to graciously make a donation to my channel and my platform. And with that, I'm going to bring up tonight's guest, Willie A Price Speaks, and he's going to talk to us about his program for boys, I suspect Black boys, and he's going to talk to us about right brain learning. So, with that, good evening, Willie.
Good evening.
All right.
You got your other screen, your computer screen on the. Was that me? Is that you or me?
I think that's you.
That must be me. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, my fault. I had something set up on the key and it set off the screen. All right, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be here. I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to us getting together and doing some things, and today is the day.
Yeah, I think I asked you the first time probably about, it's November, so maybe 2 months ago. It was late August, early September.
Somewhere
taking my
around
break, and I know Willie from David and Herb's channel. I usually share David and Herb's Monday night show on my community tab to try to get them some more subs and some more folks. They have some very, very insightful conversations going on over there. So if you haven't subbed, go over there and sub. They could use some more eyeballs and some more participation, and they're talking about some very, very important topics. And that's where I saw Willie, because Willie joined their gang. When did you join David and Herb?
Maybe about 2.5, 3 months ago.
Okay, and now the lovely Christine. It's a foursome, and I'm usually there in the chat, talking it up. So, okay, but yeah, everyone, if you're unfamiliar with David and Herb, the controversial counselor and the Big Bad Wolf, go over there and check them out. So Willie, welcome. So I got curious. You mentioned your program for boys, and one of my focuses on this channel is education. So that's why I wanted to have you on. I want to support my fellow Western New Yorkers.
Great.
And I wanted to hear about what you're doing, because it sounds very interesting. And on this channel, we've talked about the low reading proficiency for Black boys in the United States. So we've kind of talked about this already, but with someone else who's got someone else who's in the fight, I wanted to have you on.
Well, yeah, I when you mentioned my programs, you mentioned my boys program, but I actually do a boys program and I do a co-ed program also. I do several co-ed programs. So you want me to start out from where I'm from and everything, or you want me to just kind of go into
So we have some questions here, and we'll see where those go, and we'll go from there. So talk about yourself, your background, where you're from. Are you originally a Western New Yorker? Go for it.
Yes. Okay. So my name is Willie A Price. That's my actual name, Willie A Price. I go by Willie A Price Speaks. I'm from Buffalo, New York. Grew up and raised in Buffalo, New York. High school, middle school, elementary school, University of Buffalo. I'm just a Buffalo kid. And during that time, growing up, from the age of 5 until like 9, 10, 11, I really didn't have a man around the house. So I was considered the man in the house. That was my role. And during that time, I was always, trying to be the man in the house. I was out selling fruit at fruit stands and selling newspapers, cutting lawns, anything to make money so I can help out my mom around the house. End up around 9, 10 years old, stepfather came into the house, and it was like oil and water. We didn't get along at all. So he would tell me to do something, and as a young kid, what we say, when some man telling you what to do, you're not my daddy, which I knew would set him off. And as a result of that, we've, like I said, oil and water. But he saw what I was out there doing. He saw me out there hustling, out there selling newspapers, doing the things I was doing. One day he made me get in his car and forced me in the car, and he started driving. And he went to this house and he came out and he was counting his money and he put it on the seat. Then he drive to the next house, come out counting his money. He would always count right in front of me and then put it on the seat. And he did this for like 3, 4, 5 houses. And I'm, like I said, 9, 10 years old. I'm looking at this like, what is this man doing? Where is he getting all this money from? And finally I asked him, I said, where are you getting all this money from? And he said, well, you see these houses, I buy them at auctions, fix them up, and people pay me to live in them. And I'm collecting the rent. 9, 10 years old, I see the stack of money sitting between us. And I said, they give you all that money? And he said, yes, this is the rent. They pay me for living in the house. He became my best friend that day.
Wow.
Because he knew what would get my attention. That I was always trying to make money. I was always doing things. I didn't like asking anybody to buy me anything. So I was always hustling, doing things, but I was never stealing, doing things that other kids were doing. I was working, selling fruit at a fruit stand, whatever I can do, washing cars, whatever I could do to make money. 9, 10 years old. And he knew that would get my attention. And so that's how we became best friends that day. And he actually died a year before I bought my first house. But he taught me what he did and taught me different life lessons along that way. And like I said, he died a year before I bought my first house, but I ended up buying 20 houses in the city of Buffalo, starting up. And one of the things he said to me, he said, the more you learn how to do it yourself, the more money you can save. He said, but I'm going to teach you things, but I want you to finish school, because I was getting kicked. I had been kicked out of school 26 times. I've been kicked out of school 26 times. So suspended 26 times, kicked out. No, I've been suspended 26 times. I was kicked out of three schools. But he said, I want you to graduate. And if you can't, go to college. He said, so this way you have something to fall back on. Even if the housing doesn't go the way you want, you'll have the houses and you'll have something to fall back on. And that stayed with me. So that's what I did. And graduated from the University of Buffalo. I worked as a mental health. I have a degree in mental health. And I worked as a mental health counselor and case manager for 10 years. Same time, I was saving money, started buying houses while I was working there. And I said, when I start making more money than I make off of my houses, I'm leaving this job. Because my dream was always to be like my stepfather and just own houses. Even though he worked at Bethlehem still. But he had this real estate and he was into other ventures. He and his brothers owned the car lot. So that mindset to me of entrepreneurship and real estate and all those things was led into me at an early age. So as I graduated, like I said, I worked in mental health. I started buying houses. I ended up buying at a rate where I was making more than I was making off my job. I ended up leaving my job. But during that time, a kid who was getting kicked out of school and getting suspended and all these kind of things, I didn't hate school. I wasn't interested in school. And I wasn't dumb. I wasn't dumb. I was very smart. But I think that's what it was. I was bored. And so I just kind of acted out. I fought a lot. I was angry. Growing up without a father all those years, I was angry. So I was always fighting. So that was most of the reason why I was getting suspended, because I was getting in fights. I didn't allow anybody to bully me. So if you bullied me or you bully my friends, I'd beat you up just for the hell of it. And so that was something that happened with me. But I started buying these houses and fixing them up. And like I said, a person who really wasn't interested in school, I ended up going to night school for electrical, night school for carpentry, went to night school for plumbing, and worked with a guy who I used to hire him to do my plumbing and my heating. And I would stand back and watch him and see what he did. And then I would do it the next time, whatever property I was working on. And if I messed it up, I would call him and have him repair, but I'd stand and watch and see what he did wrong, what I did wrong. So I would know how to do it the next time. And as a result of that, I started a property management company. Wow. So now I'm doing property management. I'm doing 20 properties. And people started to call me and say, I know you know about houses. Can you teach me how to manage my real estate? So I started this property management company. So then we started teaching landlords how to manage their properties. People started saying, hey, we know you know about houses. We're looking about buying a house. Can you come and inspect this house for me? I had no idea. What do you mean inspect? Well, we know you know about how. Just come and tell us what's wrong with it. Okay. So I met, like I said, I wasn't a dumb kid. So I created a home inspection report. Never knew what a home inspection was at the time. Created a report, wrote it up, went to the people and looked at the house and wrote what I thought I saw. And I was like, man, there's got to be a way I can make money doing this. Found a home inspection school, went away to become a home inspector. So now I have a home inspection company. I have a property management company. I have 20 properties. I'm teaching. All these things are going on. And as a result of that, I go to a conference because, again, I'm always looking to enhance myself. And I meet Les Brown. And Les Brown, he and I became good friends, and we were talking and meeting. He was like, you know, really interesting and everything. And so he asked me, he said, so what do you want to do? Willie, I said, I want to write some books on real estate, you know, because I do this property management. I want to write some books so I can offer them in my courses and this, that, and the other. He said, well, what's stopping you? I said, I can't figure out how to do it. He said, well, do you write already? Do you like to write? I said, yes, I actually write an article for the Buffalo Challenger. And I write this article called This Week in Black History. I really like writing about Black history and working with kids on Black history because they think that Black history started with slavery and it didn't. And I like to show them, you know, more about history and not just Martin Luther King and so forth. He said, well, why don't you write a Black history book? So as you can see, that book behind me, This Week in Black History from Kings to Presidents, that's actually the 4th edition of that book. So I wrote that book in a year, the first edition in a year, went back to that same conference the next year and presented Les Brown with a copy of it. And from there, it just took off. And so I just used what I knew and started creating these workshops, teaching kids how to invest in real estate, how to start their own business, how to invest in the stock market, all the things I did, how to save money, all the things that I was doing growing up. That's what I started teaching kids. And that's how my program started. And so this is where I am now.
Okay,
that's the short
version. There's the short version. There's a lot there. So siblings, you only child or you have siblings?
I have, well, one of my sisters passed away in 95. I had 3 sisters. Now I have 2.
Okay. That's fascinating that your stepfather was able to take you under his wing and teach you that. I didn't start thinking about real estate investing until I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and by that point, I pretty much finished my PhD or I was in graduate school, but we didn't, in my home, there wasn't any of that. So it's, you know, I'm not complaining about my home, you know, but to have learned that at an early age like that, that's a tremendous advantage because there's a lot of money to be made in the real estate game. And as you described, a lot of times it's just what you know and what you know how to do.
Right.
Can you talk about just, and it sounds like you've been successful at it. Can you talk about?
I don't have them anymore. I sold all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's another story.
Just briefly, I heard that the real estate market in Buffalo has changed quite a bit. The prices have gone way up, and there are people
way up. I sold all my properties. I sold my last 4 properties. I sold just as it was starting to take off. During that time, like I said, I mentioned a lot of what I did, but in between there, like I said, I had 20 houses, 20 properties. I started a property management company, and I started what's called a field service inspection company, where we work. When you heard about the adjustable rate mortgages and that whole mortgage collapse thing and foreclosures on the houses, I had a contract with the bank and mortgage companies and with HUD, where we inspected those properties that were late on the mortgages. I had a Buffalo office, and I had a downtown Rochester office. We inspected between 600 and 800 inspections a week on delinquent houses and mortgages. And when those houses went into foreclosure, if they were like HUD finance properties, we had a contract with HUD that we would inspect those properties every 2 weeks to make sure that the lawns were cut and all those kind of things and taken care of until HUD sold them. And we did 250 of those every 2 weeks. So I was doing so much with that. I started to sell off the properties because I didn't have time. And then I shut that down because I couldn't get employees. I had 10 employees, couldn't keep, people didn't want to work. People, it was too easy. They were making too much money. And I paid my people really well. But the thing was, it was something people never heard of. And so they kept trying to take advantage of it. And so I ended up having to shut it down. I took a contract with HUD working as what is called a UCPA inspector. I inspected all the HUD properties throughout the country. So I would go in Niagara Falls Housing Authority, Buffalo Housing Authority, Atlanta Housing Authority, Charlotte Housing Authority, all the housing authorities all over the country, anything HUD financed, I would go and do inspections for. So I was traveling all around the country. So I ended up selling a lot of my properties because I was never here. I'd be in Atlanta for 2 months, Charlotte for a month, Vermont for 2 weeks. I was all over the country. And
wow,
that and 20 properties don't match. Plus 3 other businesses. And I had a property management company where we were cutting the lawns for the HUD properties. I mean, it was a lot of stuff going on. And so, like I said, I sold my last 4 right after I got married. That's how I ended up in that, where I live now in Niagara Falls. I got married in 2013 and I'm divorced now. But when I got married, I sold all my properties in 2014, that my last 4, and just kind of went into, because I was just burnt out by that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just selling.
Briefly before we go on, which high school did you go to in Buffalo?
Who, me?
Yeah, which one?
Riverside.
Riverside.
The best.
Okay.
The best. What do you think? Riverside.
My mother went to Riverside.
Really?
Yeah.
I tell people Riverside was the best because they kicked me out of Seneca Vocational and they gave me an option. They said you can go to Boys Alternative or you can go to Riverside High School. And I said, I like to fight, but I don't like to fight every day. So send me to Riverside. And so I ended up going to Riverside, playing football, running track, and it changed my life. So I tell people Riverside High School is the best high school in the world because it changed my life. It straightened me out. And so I went on to go to UB and I ran track for UB where I broke 7 school records and I was going to play football, but they didn't let me play football because my high school coach didn't like me and told him not to let me play. So.
Okay. All right. So real estate, and then you got into writing. And then if you were writing Black History for the Challenger, then you must know Miss Doyle.
Yes, I know Eva Doyle. I know Lisa. I know if you name them in Buffalo and they're older people, I know them.
Okay. So before we ask you about your program, how did you come up with the name Willie A Price Speaks? Yeah.
I was speaking. I was out doing events, and a friend of mine, he said, "Here he comes, Willie A Price coming to speak." As a matter of fact, I think it was Doug Ruffin. Here comes Willie A Price Speaks. And he kept saying it, every time he would see me, because I was always speaking and talking and doing different things, presentation. He said, "Here he comes, Willie A Price Speaks." And I think it was Doug that gave me that name. And I just added it to my brand. And when I started going to conferences, because people would see me on Facebook and different things, I would walk in conferences and people would be calling me down the hall like national speakers. "Willie A Price Speaks. Is that you?" And I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? So, like I said, I met Les, and different people, George Fraser, all those guys. As a matter of fact, when George Fraser used to come to Buffalo, he would request for me to do his introduction before he spoke.
Okay.
Because he was good friends with my friend Jennifer Parker, who used to bring him to Buffalo to do the Black Capital Network conference every year.
Okay. So some pretty heavy hitters. All right. Well, let's move on. Talk about your program for boys in the co-ed program. What do you call them? And tell us about those.
Okay. Well, I have several programs, and I started out in the city of Rochester, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I started in the city of Rochester. I had created a program called Shining Star. The Shining Star program. And it was a program where I was working with young people, trying to show them how to take their skills or their abilities and use those to create businesses and opportunities to be successful. And so a friend of mine he just became the executive director of an agency, the Wilson Commencement Center. And I reached out to him, told him about what I was doing. He said, hey, we're looking for programs. Why don't you try it out here? And we ended up doing the program there, and it just took off. So when I came back to Buffalo, because I was there doing, I was doing the workshop there, but I was also doing weatherization inspection. I'm a weatherization inspector also. So I was doing weatherization inspections there. So when I came back to Buffalo, I started creating workshops, and I found that I had this niche where I could, if you gave me an idea, I could create workshops and trainings, and then I started creating workbooks from it. So I found that I created this program called No Dream is Impossible, where I was working with the same concept. Instead of shining star, we just called it No Dream is Impossible, where we can take your dreams, thoughts, ideas, show you how to create 3 to 5 businesses using that. And so we were doing that with the boys and the girls in Niagara Falls High School. I had gotten a contract, and we had a 4-year contract with with the Niagara Falls Housing Authority, but it was in the Niagara Falls High School. And we had about 20, 30 kids every year, and we would go 20 weeks with them. 20 weeks doing this program. And from there, I started to notice that the girls, were always progressive in the programs, but there was always a lack with the boys.
Okay.
And so I created From Boys to Men, because that was something that I actually did when I was pledging Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. They asked me to meet with this organization to put on a boys conference, and it was called Boys to Men. And so I ended up taking that concept and creating From Boys to Men, which is my program based on physical, personal, and financial development and working with our young men. But I also knew Jawanza Kunjufu. And Jawanza Kunjufu, he does what is called right brain learning, and using that concept to work with youth and showing how that's more productive for young men, because as they get older, after 3rd and 4th grade, they fall behind in their reading and writing levels. And so using the right brain with our hearing, visual, and auditory learning, they can become successful. And it's not as much pressure to, with the reading and the writing, because you're doing things through audio, which are audio books, visual with videos, and then oratorical, which is doing oral speaking. So we do that in our programs, and the boys love it and we do it in the girls program too, but the boys really love it because now they can get up and talk about what they know. Understanding when you as a kid, why'd you do what you did? First thing they say, I don't know. They know, they just don't know how to put it into words. So we do this. We have another technique we call 4 W's to success, understanding who you are, where you're trying to go, what is it going to take for you to get there, and why you want to commit to it. So helping them to understand who they are, and then teaching them how to vocalize that, how to talk about themselves. And we tell them we're going to do public speaking in here. I'm not doing public speaking, but when you ask a kid, say, so tell me, how was your day? Or how was your weekend? Or what did you do? When you start asking them questions about themselves and they're talking about it, and they stand up, and they have to stand up, take their hands out their pocket and tell us what's your name and tell us what you did this weekend. Public speaking. But they don't realize they're doing public speaking. But they're doing public speaking, but they're talking about themselves. And then you start to ask them different things throughout the program, throughout the year, that 20 weeks, and they're able to talk about different things and don't even realize they're public speaking, but they're also learning, because they're learning how to present themselves. They're learning about the subject that I asked them about, those kind of things.
Okay, Willie, hold on for a second. Hey, guys, in the chat, can you verify that you can still hear us okay? Because I'm getting I have my hard connection, but I'm getting the signal icon. My condo complex told me that we're going to lose internet for 1 day in about a week and a half, and I saw the cable guys out there earlier, so I just want to make sure, because I shouldn't be seeing this with my hard connection. So okay, he says he can still hear us. Okay. Thank you, Max Soul Excellence. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So Willie, let's go back, and we're going to come back to what you just said about the right brain learning. Can you talk about why or did you guys ever talk about why the girls were more prepared than the boys were?
Well, like I said, learning from Jawanza Gunjufu and reading his stuff information and meeting with him and talking to him. Like I said, he and I became, pretty good friends too. And we always, when he came to Buffalo, we'd always exchange books because, he writes a lot of books also. And what we found is that, like I said, studying the girls are left brain learners. They're good with, reading and write. Girls will write in journals. They read all the time. They go home and they sit in the corner and read a book all day. Boys, they go home and they play with toys. They play in the dirt. Boys don't do that. And so as a result, they fall behind in their reading and their writing, and then they don't feel comfortable reading and writing in public because of that.
Okay, hold on, Willie. I think, guys, the super chat is live. If you want to super chat questions to me and Willie, and also and I want to show the audience something, because my channel has an education focus, and I found this picture on Google. But if you guys want to make a donation by Cash App or my PayPal, the super chat is also live. Left brain versus right brain. So I ripped, this is the actual background for this stream. So just so people can know what we're talking about. According to this cartoon, left brain, logical, sequential, rational, analytical, objective, looks at parts. Right brain, random, intuitive, holistic, synthesizing, subjective, looks at wholes. Does that look familiar to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. And so that's why I was surprised when I saw that when I came out. I thought figured you got it just for me. I was excited.
Okay.
So I mean, but that's and that's what we found is that the more we did the right brain learning activities with our boys in the program, the more progressive they became in the classroom, because not only were they going in and asking questions, they were also going in and doing work. Because a lot of times what we find in our programs is that they didn't give us the kids, the brightest kid and the honor students. They gave us the kids that they really want to get out of the classroom. The kids, he doesn't listen, he sleeps all day, all these kind of things. But now all of a sudden, this kid who was sleeping all day, he's sitting in the front of the class and he's asking questions, and he's wanting to learn. And so then we started to get more and more. Like I said, we were doing 7 programs just before the pandemic. We were in 6 different schools, but we were doing 7 programs, and it was 5 boys programs and 1 mixed program.
Okay. So again, the name of the program was what?
It's called From Boys to Men, and then the other one is No Dream is Impossible, or we switched that on what No Dream is Impossible or The Power of You, depending on how we want to present it.
Now, were you getting these kids after school, or were you guys going in during school hours and working with them?
We did this past year, we actually did morning programs, which I really enjoyed. So we would get them at 7:30 in the morning, and they would go till 8:30 and I did one school on Tuesday mornings, and I did another school on Thursday mornings. That was in Niagara Falls. And then we did 4 programs during school at another school. We did 2 schools, Build Academy and Build Academy and Charles Drew. We did those during school, and then we did 2 programs after school on different days. And one was at Burgard High School, and the other one was at Maritime. Actually, Maritime Charter was during school also. I just thought about that. That was during school also. The only after school we had was Burgard at the end, and we used to do a program at the Health Science Charter School, and we did that one after school also. But most of them were during school or in the morning. Like I said, we did Gaskill and LaSalle in Niagara Falls. We did those in the morning. We did Build Academy and Maritime Charter School and Charles Drew during school. And then we did Burgard after school, and then we did Health Science after school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so, and I think you probably already got into some of this. I'm running the show, so I'm kind of juggling here. Talk to us about what were you guys? I heard you say that these were the kids that they kind of wanted to segue off to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But what exactly were you doing with them? I know the right brain learning was woven in there.
Well, we did the right brain learning, but we did it in a way that it became, we find out what their interests are. So we do like a little questionnaire in the beginning. We do the questionnaire, but what we did was we start out with them talking about themselves, and we do like little prizes, little raffles. So when you participate, you get a raffle ticket. The more you participate, the more raffle tickets you get. So we might come in, and one of the things with right brain learning, where I talked about audio. So when the kids first come in, I'm not even looking at them. I'm not talking to them. I'm playing music, instrumental. And it could be an instrumental rap song. But and what they do is they hear the music, but not the words. And when they walk in, you'll see how they may be up here with energy and rolling, from coming out the hallways, whatever they've been doing. But once they come in and they hear the music, they sit down, and then about 2 to 3 minutes into the song, you can see them mellow out. And once I see that level, I shut the music off, and then we go into our program. And we did everything from hygiene to nutrition, sexual awareness with our high school kids. Like I said, just personal development things, understanding who you are. And a lot of it was helping them to understand who they are, and then being able to communicate that. And so we did a lot of activities. We even incorporated the game of Family Feud. Family Feud, where you answer the questions and different things. So we would do games like that, and they would have to stand up and answer questions. And I mean, we just did a lot of activities which were fun, but it was teaching them different things. It was teaching them how to speak. It was teaching them how to present themselves. And then we would, ask questions, and I would get them talking about things, and I would ask a question about something that was going on or about relationships. And then they would start to talk about it. And then I may ask a question, but most of the time I allow them to communicate with each other. And so that way it was just constant, learning and interaction with each other. And so as we grow, we would do physical and personal. So we do sexual awareness. And I would ask, how many guys know about sex or have sex? I said, I know some of you guys might have sex. How many of you guys use a condom? Some might raise their hand. How many of you guys know how to use, put a condom on? And you always had that one that knows everything. So he raised his hand. I said, all right. I would bring in about 4 or 5 cucumbers and condoms. And I said, all right, we're going to let you show us how to put them on. And it just became so entertaining because, of course, they were surprised I brought in these cucumbers for them to do this. But then they're doing it and realizing that they don't know how to put on the condom the proper way. And so then we're teaching that. And then they started inviting their friends to come to the program and say, hey, you need to come. So Mr. Price is teaching us how to put a condom on, and then we're doing these activities. And so it really grew the program. But what it does is all about self-awareness. And when you get kids doing things and learning, but not realizing that they're doing things and learning, they're having fun, but they're learning hygiene, they're learning nutrition. We talk about, what you eat today, and, versus, well, how is that? How's that as far as nutrition? How often do, so we get them talking about, then we give out the information about nutrition. We give out hygiene kits. So we have the deodorant and washcloths and all that stuff. We have a whole kit we give them. And we get donations from like hotels and different places with soap and shampoo. And we put these kits together and give them to the kids with toothbrushes. We get those donated from like dentist offices and toothpaste, So we do the hygiene. We give them the hygiene kits. We do nutrition. We give them nutrition stuff. We bring in food for them, nutritional things for them. And then we go into, like I said, self-awareness. We always got them talking about, who they are, things they like, how they feel. But we're doing activities with them. We do an activity called Back to the Future, where they sit in a chair and then they have to stand up and tell us where they went. If they went in the future and did something, or they went back in the past and changed something that they did. All public speaking, though. But it's so and we also have them create stories. And whoever creates the best story gets an extra ticket, and so they get up and they create, but they're public speaking. But they're having fun doing it because then you see the creativity that they have. And so then they start to see the creativity that they have. So now when they go into the classroom, they have this energy. They have this new motivation. to, be involved in the classroom, and they're asking questions, and the teachers are confused because you're normally sleeping in the back of the class, but now you're sitting in front of class asking questions and trying to learn, because now you see the importance of learning. Because again, we go into financial literacy, showing them how to start a business. But then we say, okay, you're going to start this business, and if I give you 10% of whatever that amount is that I owe you on your business, you need to know what 10% is. What are you telling them? You're telling them they need to know math.
They need to know math.
But you're not saying, if I was to say to them, well, in business, you need to know math, you need to know how to read, you have to know how to write, you already lost them. But if I say, okay, you're starting this business, and if I give you 10%, and then they realize, okay, I need to know math. And then I say, and also you may end up working with contracts. And in that contract, you need to know what you're signing or what you're having these people sign. What do you tell them? You need to know how to read. So now they have a reason to want to learn how to read. They have a reason to want to learn how to do math. And that's how we get them to move from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And like I said, when they walk out of there, they're in the classroom asking questions about math. They're in the classroom reading because they need to practice their reading. So they're doing all the things that they know is going to help them in that business that they're going to start.
Okay, so Willie, you said a couple things. I want to say, hey, Nicer, thank you for stopping through. I see Nicer around on Savings Minus Debt and other platforms. Okay, you mentioned you asked them how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Is that unusual? Do they usually not get that? Does people normally not care about how these students feel, or
who does it? Who does who?
Maybe their teachers, maybe their parents, society. I don't know. I just noticed you put that in there.
Well, we just asked them how their day. How was your weekend?
Okay.
How was your weekend? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What did you do, and why did you do it? And so they have to stand up and they present. So tell me your name again. Oh, my name is, and my weekend was, and I did this. And what did you like about your weekend? I like this about the weekend. So again, you're getting them to, because a lot of times you ask a kid, why did you do something? The first thing they say, I don't know. They know, they just normally don't know how to put it into words. So by getting them to talk about how their weekend was, how'd you feel about that when you did that? Because like I said, we're talking about different subjects, and they said, well, I got into this fight, or I got into this argument with this. Well, how did you feel when they said that to you? Or how'd you feel when they pushed you? And so now you're getting them to talk about. But again, we're working on public speaking, but we're also working on their feelings, working on their thoughts. So we're doing all these different things at the same time. And when they walk out of there, they've got this confidence, because I say to them, now when somebody asks you who you are, you can tell them who you are. You know how you feel. You know what your thoughts are, because now they do, because they've been doing it for 8, 10, 20 weeks. So now they walk out of there, and then we do this activity called, we go winning ways and winning words. Winning actions and winning words. So winning words are please and thank you. Winning action is a smile. If you look at most of our boys, they very rarely smile. And the reason why they don't smile is because they figure when they smile, people think they're a punk. So they walk around with these mean mugs, and then people are afraid of them because they think that they got an attitude. Mm-hmm. But so now you're trying to keep this image up. So we talk about smiling and the benefits of smiling, how you can win people over from smiling. And so then I said, now I need you to practice this. So when you're going to say please and thank you, you're going to say good morning, all these kind of things. And I said, now I need you to get up in the morning. And when you get up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth. I need you to practice smiling in the mirror, because I don't want to see kids walk around like this all through school, and they bust out laughing because I'm making it fun for them, but they're thinking about it. And so then they go home and they practice their smiles. And then we say, please and thank you, because that's, again, something kids don't use. And when you show them how please and thank you wins people over, because now people see that you're polite and they'll help you because they see you smiling and you're using please and thank you. And then we use please and thank you in a negative. And that's something that people often don't understand. What do you mean please and thank you in a negative? And most of our kids get into fights, especially our boys, because somebody's picking on them, somebody's pushing them, a girl is, especially with girls, a girl might like them and she's pushing them, picking on them on everything. And I showed them how to use please and thank you in a negative situation like that. And so, for example, When the kids, he did it actually, and the girls, like a girl's pushing, and I said, so how do you use please and thank you in a negative? And this is what he did, but this is what we showed him. You turn around and he says, will you please stop pushing me? But he says it loud enough to get the teacher's attention. It embarrasses her. And when she stops, he says, thank you, and turns and walks away. Normally, he would hit that girl because he got tired of her doing it. That what happened? Right. He hits her, he gets in trouble and gets suspended. But now he turned around, he said that to her, she stopped, and then he said, thank you, because she stopped and turned and walked away. And he came to class and he talked about it. He said, hey, Mr. Price, you should have saw her face. She was just so embarrassed, but it was so funny, you know. And so they learn how to use words instead of actions. So teaching them those kind of things is what, you know, like I said, we do so much in the program. And like I said, it's kind of hard to describe sometimes, but if this is what we do, it's like no one thing at a time. We're combining all these things with them. And when they walk out of there, they have so many skills that they didn't realize they had.
Okay, I'm gonna show the cartoon again. And one of these words on the right brain is jumping out at me after what you said now. So left brain, logical, sequential, rational, analytical, objective, looks at parts. The right brain is random, intuitive, holistic, synthesizing, subjective, looks at wholes. Now, which side? One of these sides is more artistic, right? And one of them is more
artistic. Is the right side because it's working with your hands. And again, you have to think about it. Boys work better with their hands. They work better with their hands. They can hear a song and sing that song after hearing it one or two times. They know all the words. They can watch a video or a movie and they'll tell you all about the movie. Now you're teaching them how to express themselves. So now they got the oracle, so that you got everything covered. You teach a kid, he can see you working on a car, and if he enjoys working on cars, he can go take that car loose and do the same thing he saw you do, or he can take that computer loose. You can see a boy, but then you gave him that same information in instructions in the instruction book. He's looking at it like you're crazy because he has a problem reading. But if he watches you do it, and he's something he's interested in, he'll learn it because it's something he can do with his hands. It's something he can see and do.
So this is an example of boys being more tactile learners. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why boys have to move around also. See, a lot of times the teacher's saying, sit down, sit down, sit down, but he's always up and moving around. So instead of having him sit down, you have work at different workstations. So when he finishes one project, he can get up and go to another project and go get it from a different section, and then come back and sit down. So that gives him that opportunity to get up and move around, which is what boys need to do. See, girls can sit all day, and like I said, and sit and read a book. Boys need to move. Boys need to, and the teacher, oh, he's ADHD. You know, that's the label they give now because they're moving around, and they want them to sit down and sit still. But when they give them these medications, they're sitting still. They're not learning because now they're doped up. Their concentration isn't focusing on the classroom because they want to move. But if you say, okay, you finish this project, and then you can go to section A and get your next project, and then you go over here to section B and get your other project, and then we can take a break and you can do some exercise, you know. So you have all these activities where they know once I get this done, I can go and do this. And once I get this done, then I can exercise. You know what I mean? So now they're motivated to do the work because they know they can get up and move around and they don't get in trouble for it.
That's interesting.
All that is right brain learning.
Yeah. I've had a couple of guests on here who suggested that number one, boys need to be in their own school.
Yes.
And number two, the Prussian education system, which our education system is modeled after, is more geared towards girls at this point. Yeah. I'm going to go back. You also mentioned, since we just brought up, I just mentioned the Prussian education system. In that same conversation with BGS, he stated that creativity is not emphasized in that system. And what I hear you talking about is a continuous emphasis on creativity.
Creativity, that's right. Showing your imagination. Remember I said to you, they get up and they tell a story. And when we did the Back to the Future, or we'll get a bag of different items. And when they they have to reach in the bag and pull out whatever they pull out, and then they have to make up a story about that item. So they might pull out a pencil and say, this is the magic wand, and make up a story, using that pencil and showing their creativity. But they're also doing what? Public speaking. They're also doing what? Using their creativity. They're also, they're doing all these different things. And half of those kids, when I say we're going to do public speaking in here, I'm not doing public speaking. I'm not doing that. But the same ones are the ones that are getting up and doing these creative stories. And I'll say to the kids when they finish, I said, what was he just doing? Public speaking. And then the kid will bust out laughing because he'll think about it and say, oh, that's what public speaking is. Oh, okay, I can do that, And then, but they're into it because now they're not afraid of it.
Yeah. So Willie, we have a little bit of time left.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the importance of public speaking? I hear you continuing to emphasize that. Talk about why you guys thought that was important to infuse into the program.
I use public speaking because when I was growing up, I was afraid to speak, and I had a lot of things bottled up in me, and I didn't know how to express it.
Mm-hmm.
But through the things I was doing with my real estate and different things like that, and then I started this No Dream is Impossible, and just sharing stories with people. If I found that it allowed me to be able to express myself in ways that I never was able to, never thought I could. So then when I started my programs, I incorporate everything that I do, real estate, entrepreneurship, stocks and bonds, all those things, self-awareness, nutrition, eating right, hygiene, taking care of myself because I want to look good, those kind of things. Everything I do in life, I'm teaching these kids. So public speaking is what I do. And so, again, I'm teaching them because I know it builds up their confidence. So now when they're in the classroom, and that's what we're trying to incorporate with the teachers, trying to get them to have these kids, allow them to do more oral reports because the fear still is there for the writing. They're still having that fear or that aggravation with the reading. But if you give them audio books to listen to, but still give them the book, they can hear and follow along with the book as they're practicing their reading. Okay. Then in my books here, the middle school book and the high school books, in the back of the book, there's 50 to 75 pages of just journal pages. So now they can write down their thoughts and ideas without somebody following behind them. But what they're doing is, and I give them subjects to write about your weekend, write about, what you want to do for the summer, all these kind of different things. So while they're writing these things, it's practicing their handwriting without somebody standing over them looking at it. You know what I mean? Because that's the embarrassment is that a lot of them don't understand the spelling or don't know how to spell or don't think they're writing as well. So this allows them to practice those things on their own. And so all the kids in my programs, they get the workbook and it has all the things that I talk about. Physical, personal, financial development. We have all kinds of sections in there. And then in the back of each book, there's journal pages where they can write down their thoughts, ideas, again, helping them to practice with their thoughts and how to practice their writing, all those kind of things. So we do that, but the public speaking allows them to be able to express themselves. Because again, when you ask a kid, why'd you do something? The first thing they say, I don't know. They know, they just don't know how to put it into words. So helping them to understand who they are and how to express themselves, that's the first step into them becoming successful. Because once you can express yourself and understand who you are and how you feel about things, then when things happen, when your friends are doing something that is going to get you in trouble, okay, well, I need to figure out a way to talk out of getting out of this, doing this activity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Without looking like you. So now they know how to express that. They know how to talk about it. They know how to say what they need to say in order to do what they need to do. And so, that's, like I said, the program has been going for 7 years. I've gotten I get calls from all over the country about the program and doing it in different schools and working with kids. During the pandemic, I actually spoke for the Black Teachers Association conference in Toronto, and had teachers from all over Ontario that came on that Zoom. It was a Zoom conference, and I was one of the speakers for right brain learning techniques for the teachers to use in the classroom.
Wow. Okay. Do you? I asked you this about. Well, do you have a website up or?
I actually took my website down, but we're about to put up a new website, a
Okay.
betteryoulifestyle.org, which is the new. I just started a nonprofit organization. We lost all our funding during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and I just a lady had been telling me for like 2 years to start a nonprofit. So I started the nonprofit during the pandemic. We just got our approval like 2 months ago. So I have a Better You Lifestyle. I'm the executive director of that and the program manager and everything else under the sun. And we're using that to get funding and grants and different things. So this way, all we have to do now is just find a school or church, an organization that has the children. And now what we're also doing, we're not just working with the kids anymore. We're trying to incorporate the entire family. Because one of the things we found is that we're teaching the son or the daughter in the program, but they're going home to an environment that's not reinforcing that doesn't know what the kids are talking about. So they get discouraged. So now by offering these programs in locations where the family can come as a whole unit, now you're teaching a family to create generational wealth. Because again, we're still going to work on nutrition and hygiene and public speaking, but then we're also going to get into the financial literacy and starting businesses. And we did introduction to franchises this year. So, I mean, we're doing
Okay.
a lot of different things with the families.
I want to end on that, but give us the name of the programs again, Willie.
From Boys to Men, No Dream is Impossible. And then we do another one called Think and Grow Wealth, which is financial literacy. And the agency is a Better You Lifestyle. And that's where you can find us. We have a Facebook page, and we also will have the website up probably next week. We've just been
Okay,
finishing it up.
I was gonna ask if people want to find you and
Or Willie
talk
A
to you.
Price Speaks on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Willie A Price Speaks.
Okay, I'm gonna show the cartoon again for flow here. Left brain is logical, sequential, rational, analytical, objective. Looks at parts. I think that would be the more scientific brain. The right brain is random, intuitive, holistic, synthesizing, subjective, and looks at wholes. And arguably, both of those are important because a lot of our innovations have come from people thinking outside of the box and being creative. So you kind of,
Yes.
both of those are important. Willie, can you talk about how do the students take to the financial literacy, learning about the stocks? And I'm assuming you teach them about budgeting, or well tell us.
We start out with budgeting. We start out with how to save money.
Yep.
And we do that very, very simple. Like I said, we do simple ways. So how many of you guys have a box of Nikes at home? They all raise their home. Bring the box in, leave the Nikes at home, cut a slit in the box, we tape it up. Every time you get 10% of whatever amount of money you get, put 10% in that shoe box, put it under your bed or in the closet. So that way you don't open up the box. At the end of the year for Christmas, open up that box, see how much money you have. That's the beginning of savings. So we do that with them. And then we take that and we go into how to start a business. Because now once you got your savings, you can start a business.
Yep.
Start your business.
Right.
Showing how to start the business. That's where we get into the knowing 10%, knowing how to read a contract, which is talking about reading and writing. And then we take that and we go into, now we, like I said, we incorporated franchises this year, but entrepreneur, franchises, then real estate, and then we do introduction to the stock market. So I ask kids, how many guys have Nikes? They raise their hand. How many of y'all own Nike stock? Nobody raised their hand. I'm going to show you how to buy Nike stock and allow Nike to buy you some Nikes. I'm going to show you how to buy Dave & Buster's, and then Dave & Buster's is going to pay for you to go play at Dave & Buster's. So now when you tell them things like that, things they've never heard of, but showing them how they can do that and make money and not have to spend their own, now you've got their attention. But you've brought them along the way with a business, savings, entrepreneurship, real estate. Now, all these ways where they can make 3 to 5 ways how they can make money, which is what I tell them in the beginning. I'm going to do personal development. I'm going to do nutrition. I'm going to do all these things with you. But my role in this program is to show you 3 to 5 ways how to make money. I already got their attention. As soon as I say that, they're just waiting to see how I'm going to teach them.
Okay. Yeah, that right there is worth the price of admission because there's so many people who never get an understanding of what the stock market is or how it works. And there are some people who would say, I I wouldn't invest in stocks. You're just going to lose money. But that's for people who don't understand what it is, how it works, and what to do with your money once you get in there. So that's very, very powerful.
But those same people will go to casino every weekend, and those same people will go to a concert and everywhere else and spend money and lose a lot more money than they would on the stock market. So
or play the lottery.
Or play the lottery, exactly. So, but they don't see that as being a loss. They don't see that as being a loss. They don't play that lottery every big millions, and like I said, go to casino and all those different things. But to invest in the stock market, and it's because the fear of the unknown. They don't know about the stock market. They know about people winning the lottery. They know about people winning at the casino because they've seen it. But they normally don't see people that do the stock market, and so they don't see that winning. They don't see those people who are progressing from the stock market. And so I introduce kids to that. I introduce the students to that. I show them videos of kids that are investing, so they see kids that look like them investing in the stock market and making money and, being able to provide for their family and travel and do different things that they never imagined that they'd be able to do. But now you've given them a whole new on-site of things that they can do in life, thoughts that they never had.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of learning or having someone teach you. Right. But that ignorance, same thing with real estate. People think of, the problem tenants and tenants leaving without paying the rent, and they get forever sour on holding property for cash flow. But it's even with real
estate, like you said, when you think of real estate, most people think of renting a property. But like I said, where did I tell you I used to do? I used to do inspections. I used to do property management. We used to do property maintenance. So I teach the kids, there's more than just buying a house. You may not want to buy a house and do that, but you might be good with working with your hands. So you start a property maintenance company and you work for those landlords and take care of the property. So you see what I'm saying? I'm taking and showing them other aspects. So this way you can still do, you can do real estate, but this is another aspect of real estate. This last semester at Gaskell and LaSalle, we taught the kids how to start their own property maintenance business, because with the pandemic, people have been locked up in the house. So we showed them how we gave them a list of things they would need, gloves and bags and all those kind of things, and going door to door and asking people they need their basements cleaned out, if they need their attics cleaned out, if they need their garage, if you need your lawn. So showing them how to do these things. And then some kids didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. What do you want to do? I want to play video games. Okay. So then we showed them how to start a video game tournament with their friends, and how to do the sheet with the brackets and everything. So whatever they like, whatever your specialized skill or things you enjoy, we show them 3 to 5 ways how they can make money doing it.
Yeah.
So there's never no I can't do it, because we're going to give you a way to do it. And I'm going to give you one real quick story. I was doing this program for the Urban League called Think and Grow Wealth, which is the same thing, financial literacy. And I said, I'm going to give you 3 to 5 ways, and kids were going around, and I was asking different kids, what do you like to do? And I showed them 3 to 5 ways. What do you like to do? And so one girl, she called herself, she's going to be smart, said, well, I like to sleep. That's my hobby. That's what I enjoy doing. And I knew she was testing me. So I had to step back. I stepped forward. I said, really? You like to sleep? So I'm thinking while I'm talking, you like to sleep, huh? Well, as a matter of fact, if you go up to the University of Buffalo, they do these sleep studies in the psychology department, and they pay you to come up there and sleep. So you can go up there and they have different sleep studies that you can do. She was looking at me like I was crazy, but it was funny because she said it jokingly because she wanted to test me, because I said I can find 3 to 5 ways, anything you know that you like to do. And so when she said sleep, I gave her that suggestion where you could go up to University of Buffalo and you could do sleep studies and get paid to do them. And of course, she never heard of it, but she just from that point on, I had her undivided attention. And so that's what we do with the kids. We show them how to take the skills and the things they have and how to make money.
Okay. Kareen, not Karen, I see you coming in at the end. Thank you for the generous
Kareen, not Karen.
Much appreciated. Kareem, we have to do the collab on Dune over on my entertainment and media channel. So I just saw that, and I think I'm going to go see the Eternals tomorrow. Well, Willie, dude, you got to come back, man. You're like an encyclopedia of stuff. We could just talk real estate and stocks We can go for two more
Have I
minutes.
lived up to my name? Have I lived
Yeah,
up to Willie A Price Speaks?
you have. You have. Give us the name of the programs one more time.
We have
Your
From Boys to
programs.
Men. I'm sorry.
The name of the programs, because there's more than one.
From Boys to Men, No Dream is Impossible, and Think and Grow Wealth are our main programs that we do in different schools and programs. A Better You Lifestyle is our nonprofit we just started. And so please just, keep us in your prayers. And if you're interested in us coming out and doing some workshops, we even do teacher and parent trainings so you can do those things in the home. So working with your kids or working with students, if you're a teacher, we actually do trainings with you. So if you have a school or some individual teachers that want to take the trainings, we offer those as well.
Okay, very good. So everyone, I'm going to reiterate that, or remind everyone that Willie is on every Monday night over in the Counselor's Corner. I share, if I'm there watching, and I'll share David and Herb's stream here at my community chat, my community tab, and there you'll see David, Herb, Willie, and Christine talking about a compelling topic, of the day, or multiple compelling topics. So you could go see him every Monday. Corrine says, "Thank you so much, Mr. Willie, for all you're doing for the community." Yeah, it's very fascinating, Willie, that you're nationwide now, over in Canada, and people are looking for you. Do you have any parting shots or any other comments?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it. We've said we were going to get together, and we made it happen. And I'm willing to come back anytime you want. I really enjoyed it, and continue success with your show.
Okay. I'm going to, just for cross promotion, show the stream I'm doing tomorrow, so people can see that. Let's see. Bear with me for 1 second here, folks.
The hour goes by as fast.
It sure does, dude. 5 questions. 5 questions go just like that.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, you can't. It's technically not live yet. But let's see. How do I? Oh, I know. I can do this. Give me 1 second here. So I'm using my creative brain to solve this puzzle.
I see.
Let me go back here. And let's see. Science. Go to the channel.
And if anyone would be interested in any of the books, you can also find my books on Amazon. All the books you see behind me are on Amazon. This Week in Black History, From Kings to Presidents, From Boys to Men High School Edition, From Boys to Men Middle School Edition, and No Dream is Impossible. And these are all the programs we use in the schools with young people. So it's something that you can use at home if you have young people at home in the family, and put them to work with those books. And the workbooks are activities and different fun things that they can do. So it's not them just sitting down and reading a book. They're actually doing activities in the book.
All right.
Especially the Black History book.
Okay. Are these books available on your, how do you?
On Amazon. I don't have a website up right now, but when we do put the website up, I may actually go ahead and make my old website back up again, because I'm not going to try to mix the nonprofit with my profit business.
Yep, that's smart.
I don't want to do that. So yeah, so I'll probably put up my website again. Somebody actually hacked my original website, so that's why I just shut it down. But
speaking of hacking, so guys, tomorrow over on my science channel, around 1 o'clock, I'm doing a stream with Professor Black Ops. Oh, I brought it up there instead of. Let me do it here. Just let me load the picture up. It'll take a few seconds. So
Amazon.com.
Speaking of hacking, tomorrow around 1, I'm doing a stream with Professor Black Ops, and we're going to be talking about cybersecurity over on my science channel, Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. That's going to be around 1 o'clock. So, all right, Willie, I think that's it.
Sounds good.
Hey, man, yeah, you're an encyclopedia of information, business, education, creative learning, left brain, right brain. So my creative mind's going to be turning, and I'm going to have you come back and we're going to talk about something else, maybe something related to this, or shoot, maybe we'll just maybe we'll spend the show just talking about your real estate experience, because you know what, a quick story before we finish up. That was something I got interested in my late 20s. Again, once I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I'd been a student most of my life, training to be an employee, and I tried to get into the real estate game, and it was not pretty.
And it's not for everybody, you know. And that's why I said to you earlier. I said to you, when we teach the boys about real estate, we teach them all aspects of real estate, because most people think buying a house, but buying a house isn't for everybody. So we teach them property management. If you got kids, like I said, good working with their hands, they might know how to paint. They might know how to do drywall. They might know how to do plumbing. So now you're teaching them how to start those businesses and go out and make money working for landlords or creating their own little side business, you know, doing those type of things. And right now there's a big demand for people who know how to have those skills, who know how to do plumbing, electrical, carpentry, all those kind of things, because that handyman that you used to see driving around the different cities with the truck and all, you don't see them anymore.
No,
those guys, a lot of those guys have died off. And so you have a big demand for people doing that kind of work. And these landlords are paying top dollar, $25, $30, $40 an hour for these guys to come in and do it, where you teach a young high school student to start how to do that, and then they're making $25, $30 an hour doing something they enjoy doing, versus working $10 or $15. And that's what I tell them. I said, you can make $35, $40 an hour doing something you enjoy doing, you know? And as you become proficient at it, now you can raise your prices up to $50 an hour. Imagine making $50 an hour, you know, and they look at, oh, I would like that, you know, again, because you're taking them away from that $10 an hour minimum wage type mindset.
Yep. And you can build a business around it too.
And that's what we teach them. Those are all the things we teach them in the program.
All right. Well, we will stop there. Willie, thanks again. This will be the first of many.
You sure you don't want to go 2 hours, man?
No. I have to do something. See, you guys used to go to do the 2 or 3 hours thing on Monday nights.
I know that's. I'll tell you, this is how we get though. We get to talking. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the show. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. Well, everyone, if you're interested in following Willie, go back and listen to the playback. I know he's on Facebook, but I asked him to discuss his program's names and his information numerous times. Everyone, thank you for watching the stream. Thank you to Korean again for the super chat. If you're watching on the playback and you want to donate to the channel, my information is below the playback of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Everyone stay safe out there. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and we will talk to you the next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.